Well, let's use this design for a pergola and a bench underneath to illustrate some of the ways you can use dimensions in a GCAD Plus drawing. So the pergola here is 2870, so I've applied a linear dimension by coming up here, and you need to pick up accurately the first point. So I would use the end, and so I'm entity snapping or O snapping to the end, and then come to the other end, and then I drag down. Now if you don't get things quite right as far as placement, see how you can just slide things along. Now if we look in the properties box, this is a dimension style called standard and has a certain arrowhead size and offset from the origin and offset from the text from the actual line, and these are all controlled by a dimension style, so it's called standard. And if we wanted to alter it, we could go into dimensions and dimension styles, and if you click list, see here I have a number of different dimension styles, and this little movie is trying to demonstrate how you can manipulate within one design what you see by changing your dimension style. So this is standard, so our text height is 50, our units are decimal, and the precision is 0, and let me OK that. So I can change any one of those things, and if I click here, the width or depth, if you like, of the pergola is here as well as 1398, so you might want to do an override and say the pergola is approximately 400 deep by 2870 wide, and that's the space that we're going to put this symbol into a design, and that's the space that it will cover. Notice that here the dimension lines cross one another, and the reason being we've picked up this particular point here and at the top a different point, and that's why they cross. If you put polar on, you can click on the dimension line and just move it back, and the dimension won't change, and we've got a nicer appearance. We could even move that one down a little and this one here also to line up with it, and that looks a lot neater. The other thing that I've done in this particular part of the design, the pergola, is I've set up a dimension style called hand label for labeling, and if we pick here we can manipulate that text very easily. Restore pergola, hit the enter key, and you can see I'm changing the lines here. I'm splitting them, and I can change the justification, make it left, and jump in there again, and you can see I'm editing and adjusting how the text will go, and that follows me around. I could easily just move it over here, and whereas in this case I just put the text in a M text box. So using a leader with a dimension style associated with it gives me the ability to label it in that way. But what happens when you come to this little bench that's sitting under the pergola, and it's really quite small, it's 1 meter by 300, and for that we set up a different dimension style. So if I go again to dimensions and dimension styles, go to our list, that one hand label, all we did there was change the text style. But if we come back to standard small, you may be able to see that the text height here has been reduced to 35. The geometry is all, the arrow size can also be reduced. Let's just bring it back to 35 for emphasis, and you can see, compare now the arrowhead here and the text height there. So there are times when you want to bring the changes in the one drawing, and the best way to do that is by manipulating text styles. You do need to have your wits about you. I'm advise people to click on list, pick the one you want to modify, and then edit the geometry, the text or the units or whatever you wish to do. There's the setting. Let's come back there again. It is important to be aware of the setting. So I'd be in if you wanted standard small, I'd say I'm going to set the current dimension style to that. It's rather like text styles. So I hope those few comments give you a little insight into using text styles, dimension styles within a design.